Greetings to all. I'm Dr. Irena Portenko, and this is the podcast Musical Mondays. We are wishing you a happy spring. And today we have our special guest, the 2025 Grammy nominee, Dr. Sergei Kvitko, who is joining us from Lansing, Michigan. When I'm preparing a podcast, I think of who is going to be my story and whom this story will be made for. So we are here at the university, and the primary focus is on students and on the professors. Let's think how we can empower our students and inspire our professors while making the most out of our time spent together here. So back to Sergei. Today on the menu, there will be a conversation with him, as well as a few recordings that Sergei has chosen to share with us. So question number one. How are you, Sergei?
I'm great. Thank you.
Hey, great to have you here. So you are a Grammy nominee, which places you at a certain level, and all the students are going to see from our conversation, from maybe looking up your name, that you are quite accomplished person, and they're going to say, yeah, right, he's at the top of his career, and we are students, we are just studying. Why should we listen to him? And from this perspective, I would like to start building our conversation and ask you the first question about time traveling. Pretend that you take a journey back, all the way back to the moment when you were a student, and tell your younger self, you will become a celebrated sound recording engineer, producer. Your own playing will inspire, will affect 100,000 of people, and you will be nominated for 2025 producer for the Grammys, etc., etc. What do you think your reaction would be?
I would think that this person was completely out of his mind.
That's okay. So now, this is very interesting because young people who have dreams, they're going to listen to your story and they're going to think, if I dream about this, I will be out of my mind, which is very good. It puts perspective on it. Now, considering all the circumstances and from the point where you were a student, you have treated all your dreams with grace and respect and hard work. So there is a lot to harvest for you today. And I've known you for quite a while, and you've been wearing a lot of hats. You've been recording, you've been performing, producing, arranging, composing. Why is that? Why don't you go just one direction? Why do you have to try all these areas? And is there anything else that you haven't done in your career, and where would you like to expand your skills?
Well, this question is kind of more loaded than it seems, because I feel like the things that I do are some sort of self-expressions of different kinds, different levels. Whatever I produce or help somebody to produce their album or video or anything, whenever I play piano, whenever I arrange something or compose, or whatever I do, it's the way of self-expressing myself, my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions, and so on. And this comes from within, so that this is innate desire to do this. I have to do it. I don't expect to get anything out of it. I just need to get that out. And when that happens, and if it gets approved, so to speak, or liked or adored, it's a bonus. But honestly, I'm not looking for that and I feel like, especially in our world of classical music, there's this big noise going around with Timothée Chalamet saying that, opera and ballet and all this. And I'm just looking at it and giggling because it's really funny. And we should not be offended by that because we're not doing it for people like him or people who don't care. We're doing it for ourselves. And then there are people who appreciate it. And as long as that dynamic happens, there are people who need to do this. They need to self-express in that particular way, be it painting, writing, playing, whatever. And as long as there are people who consume that with joy and attention, it will never die. It will always exist. So I'm really happy about that. So that's what I'm doing, like funny you should ask what I haven't done. I'm finishing writing a play. So when, like, literally right now, before this, I was editing the last things, and I think it's quite brilliant. But then again, if nobody likes it, if it never sees the light of day, it's fine. I'm having the process of doing that is satisfactory to me. That is what I want to do. And then if it goes somewhere, it's great. If it doesn't, I did it or I've done it, and I'm happy. It makes me happy. But one of my favorite quotes of all times is from Into the Wild book and the movie when Chris McCandless says one of the last things the story of him disappearing in Alaska and dying alone. And one of the last things he write in his book is in his diary is that happiness is only real when shared. And that is kind of, I feel like that story of my life. I'm happy doing what I do, but it becomes real when it's shared. When my music is out there, my photographs are somewhere, my play is staged somewhere, maybe, that will make it real. But even if it doesn't happen, it is real to me. I'm happy doing what I do. I don't know if it answers the question, but here it is.
It's wonderful. Yes, it's basically all about you. And that's great. Now, I was trying to avoid Timothée Chalamet at all costs, but it didn't work. Well, he was talking about ballet and opera not being popular. What is popularity? Is that a good thing in general, just for the artist?
Well, I think there are different levels of popularity. There is, people that we recognize on the street, and there are people who we know their names, like, writers and painters. We probably won't recognize them, but we know their names. And there are some people who are dear and close to the hearts of other people, and they're popular in their minds. I don't know. I feel like chasing popularity is not a good strategy, just because I remember when I called one of my agent, the PR agent that I worked with, and I called her and we talked over the phone. And one of the first questions she asked, from this PR work, what do you want to achieve? What do you want to be the goal result, the final result, the goal of this? And I said, well, two things. That was years ago. I think two things. I want a front page of the New York Times, and I want a Grammy. And she says, okay, I'm hanging up right now. And that's how we started our long-term relationship and collaboration, because she understood what I meant and I understood exactly what she meant. So yeah, popularity, it's again another loaded question that I'm not sure how to answer because um, I don't look for it. When it comes, I know that I am popular in my own little town, and I know that people know who I am. and it's nice. I do get recognized on the street, but it's all in perspective. When I go to the next little town, nobody knows who I am. So that's let alone going to New York or LA. So that's not upsetting to me that I don't get recognized. That's normal. Again, I just do what I do because I want to do it.
Thank you. This is very interesting that you're saying that because there are a lot of young people, they're looking up to their idols and they imagine themselves to be their places. And it's always interesting what it entails. So you were at the Grammys as a nominee. What was thrilling about it? And was there anything that you did not expect to see? And I was also wondering if you can trace a little bit forward and see if you would like to be back next year as well. And maybe if someone tells you that it's not possible, what would you answer to them?
Well, I never thought it was possible until it was possible. So I feel like one thing I can always say, nothing is impossible. Just like that time when I tell people, a couple of years ago, I played the organ at the Vatican for a mass at the St. Peter's Basilica. And people say, oh my goodness, what an incredible bucket list item. And I would say, it would not occur to me to put that on my bucket list, just because that's so outrageously crazy. But there I was. So, and non-existing item on the bucket list that is got checked off. Was the Grammy. It was a lot of fun. That was my first time there, my first nomination, and it was my first time there. I kind of expected I expected everything was pretty much expected. That's what I'm trying to say. The huge amount of people, a lot of famous people, a lot of people, I have no idea who they are, beautiful dresses and outfits, very well organized because you kind of herd so many people into particular sections and particular buildings. It was great. It was a lot of fun, and I met a lot of people, and I talked to a lot of people, which was great. This kind of networking is helpful in many, many ways, not just professional, but also on the human level. You see people who do the same thing as you, and you communicate with them and you share, and it was incredible. I really, really, really want to go back. Was only caveat that I have to get nominated. Well, I guess I could go just as a guest, but that would be kind of silly. So I would love to get nominated again for anything. So I just have an opportunity to go. And the big show with all the superstars was great. It's so completely out of my element because I never go to the pop concerts or rock concerts. So it was overwhelming and crazy and fun. Um, I don't want to do it again until next year, but it was really, really fun. And just seeing all the celebrities, that's kind of, also kind of humbling, because here you are, a Grammy nominee, and here goes Lady Gaga, and you like a schoolboy. Oh my God, it's Lady Gaga. Um, Kind of different level of popularity again.
Thank you. This must have been an amazing experience. What do you have to do to go back?
Um, I have to do basically what I've been doing, and then the voters who vote for the nomination have to decide again that I'm worthy of the nomination. And so if I get a nomination, then it would be a reason to go again. So I just keep doing what I'm doing.
It's a top to be there, to be recognized by the Academy. Some people may think that you've always succeeded. Is that true?
Yes.
Amazing.
Well, it all depends on what you consider success and what you consider a failure. Um, because you can look at success as just another, notch in your belt or whatever it's called. And you can look at failure as a learning experience, as simply an experience, as a lesson that you will never repeat or will repeat again with a different learning experience. So that's, yeah, I would say, yeah, it depends how you look at it.
We are at the university, so the it's hard to say. Life is a winning thing because you win life while being born, and failure does not have to do anything with that. Everything, as you said, is a lesson, but rather difficulties. Students encounter all sorts of difficulties, and I was wondering if you have any story that you could share that would be inspiring for the students to hear, so that they could have a little bit of something to reference as a reference point, if possible.
Well, I can't think of anything educational and profound at the same time. At this moment, I don't know, but I think perseverance and hard work and stubbornness are important. They are important. So you can reach lots of things just by those three. Of course, I mean, talent is important. The gift from God is important that you have. Um, Sometimes it's just a matter of finding what it is. Could be not what you think. Um, but I don't believe I don't believe hard work will get you nowhere. I think it works. It works. Persistent, what do I say? Perseverance and stubbornness and stubborn. So you get it. If you want it, you get it. You have to be stubborn.
And it's okay to change directions, you think?
That's I feel like at my tender age, I'm still changing directions and venturing into something and I've never done just because I feel like I want to, and I'm lucky and I'm happy that I'm at the point of my life when I can afford doing that. I can afford take a few days of work. I hope my clients don't hear that right now, so they don't blame me for not finishing their projects. And just to work on the play, just because I feel the urge to do that. I feel like it's important again to me, most of all, but hopefully to other people. Or, as you know, I just recorded my own album a couple of weeks ago. That was another very time-consuming and completely non-consequential for the world enterprise, but it was important to me, and I wanted to do it. And I'm at the point when I can afford taking different direction and do that. But of course, the the production side, the production business that I'm in, that's the main thing. That's how I make a living. That's how I pay my bills, and that's how I can afford, and go fly across the country for $1,000 and play a concert for which I get paid, $100, just because I want to, just because I want to do it. Um, but again, that business started out of necessity for me. So when I was a student at Michigan State, and I needed to come up with recordings to send to competitions or camps or whatever different things, and I couldn't find anybody to record me. I couldn't find anybody who would understand what I need, would understand the sound I'm looking for, because it's really hard to describe the sound, and help me through the process, because as you well know, it's an excruciating process of recordings when you play on stage and you play for people and they adore you, and it's a different experience, a completely different art. When you're in a recording studio, you're under microscope. Everything is exposed, and that's very revealing and very excruciating. It's just excruciating experience. And I couldn't find anybody to help me through that. So I started doing it for myself. And that's how the whole business started. Then I feel like I could share this, whatever I'm learning, however I'm helping myself through this excruciating experience. I could possibly help somebody else. So I started helping my friends and then their faculty, their teachers, and then it's kind of snowballed out of proportion. So again, that was a completely opposite direct, not the opposite, obviously, but a different direction from what I've been doing for all my life before that, playing piano and learning how to be a better pianist. And then I started doing it behind the proverbial glass in the studio. And I very quickly realized how much I love doing this because it's a much faster pace than preparing for a concert for, 6 months and learning a program and playing it over and over and over and over and over again, But so I have this weekend, yesterday, I had a beautiful singer who recorded a few arias. The day before, I have a violist and a pianist did interesting music that I never heard before. It was very fun. So that's kind of like things change every day. There's something new, something exciting. So I love that part of it, although it's crazy and overwhelming, but I do like that. And then again, I got to the point when I can afford to take time and do something else that I really feel like doing, like playing piano, playing concerts, recording my own album, writing a play, or I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So that's the.
That's amazing. I think we should take a moment and listen to one of your pieces from your most recent album, which is called Exit Music. So please let us know what the piece is and how it got into the album.
Well, the whole album is a collection of transcriptions of my favorite music that is not written for piano. And it is the music from Bach to Radiohead, from Björk to Mozart, and everything in between. There are 14 pieces on the album, and they just capture pretty much every my really wild musical taste. And some of this work I commissioned, some of these works I found that I didn't know exist, like for instance Schubert's Gute Nacht from Winterreise, arranged by Gadowski. I had no idea this piece existed. I really like it, so it is an album. And the piece that you're going to hear is probably going to be the first piece on the album, which is not the first piece on the program, but I really want it to be the opener for the album. That's why I put it together first. It is a transcript. I don't even know what to call it because it's not a transcription, it's not an arrangement. It's somewhat of a fantasy on Schubert's Dichterliebe. Schumann's Dichterliebe, of course, Schumann's. Dichterliebe, as you know, is a pretty substantial cycle of 30 minutes with can't quite remember how many songs are in it. And there are two incredibly beautiful episodes but the whole cycle is incredible. But the two, my most favorite two moments in the work is the opening tune, the opening song, and the last piano solo piano postlude that finishes the album. So I took a very unorthodox approach to that. So I combined the two. So they're going from the first song, it goes into the postlude and then back to the first tune, and at the end, the theme of the first song comes back, which is, I think, is very appropriate. But Schumann didn't do it, so I don't know if he feels sorry about it now or he's mad at me. I don't know, but that's the piece.
You're a true engineer when it comes to piano too, I think. So let's listen to the piece. Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing this piece of music. Um, Question for you. You have mentioned different recordings within past days. I know that you have been recording not only music but also spoken word. And what was the most unusual recording that you have ever done?
In a way, they're all unusual because of the um, it's kind of interesting. I do a lot of talks to students at different university. They ask questions about recording techniques, sometimes recording as a performer, what how to prepare for this too. So I do this, and one of the questions was, what is the hardest part of my job? And I, without skipping a beat, I said dealing with people. That is the hardest because when you get one diva in the room, you can kind of figure out your way around. But when you get two or three or four or five, then it gets complicated. So my rate as a shrink kind of goes up the more people I get in the room. But it is very, very tricky dealing with people and getting the best out of them without pushing and at the same time without compromising the material, and at the same time making sure they're happy with the result later. It's very difficult. So in this regard, most of the sessions have something unusual in it. There are some difficult productions. I just did an opera recording in January. We did an opera, Jake Perlis, An American Dream, which I think is going to be a huge recording, a huge release. And that was very difficult, just because of sheer amount of people involved in the orchestra and the singers and all that. That was complicated, and of course, there's some very simple ones. But as far as, but I'm not sure what you mean by unusual.
Something that you have never done before, not music. Was there anything?
Not music, not really. I've done some spoken word, which I feel like I'm a little overqualified for for that, just because my skill set is looking at the score and making sure it's all good and proper and correct. With the spoken word, is a little different, but it's fun. Again, the people matter. So to me, the people who do it, that would do it for me. I will do it for them. But like that opera was probably the first recording of a big opera production that I've done, and some are more unusual, just like the one of the that album actually was nominated for Latin Grammy. So I was nominated for Latin Grammy a few years ago, with a
Right.
concerto for maracas and wind symphony orchestra. So that was
Very unusual.
fascinating, very unusual. I didn't even realize that maracas could be used as a solo instrument to solo with the symphony band, but it was spectacular. It was so good that it got nominated for Latin Grammy. It was incredible.
Thank
So that
you. Yeah, yes, that's I understand. Actually, my next question is linked to that. So within 20, 25 years at the with the headphones, have you noticed any change in tendencies in terms of styles, topics, preferences for the setup, sound, uh, any any kind of waves that you would pick up that you would understand? Okay, this is the trend.
it's interesting. Technology develops very quickly. I'm very excited and very nervous, mostly excited about AI getting into music. I'm kind of following it closely and playing with it and just seeing what's possible. It is a fascinating process to me. Again, I'm not worried about my job. I'm not worried about musicians' jobs. Again, going back to this, the fact that we do it for ourselves and somebody will want to received that gift from musicians to the audience. So it's never going to go away, especially live concerts. Recordings, one tendency that it kind of goes up for years and years and years already is an expectation of perfection from the recordings that nobody would ever come to a concert with, just because we're all living, breathing people, and we make mistakes and things happen, and it's okay, it's normal. But I compare that, as I said earlier, I feel like concert performance is a different art from recording. And I sometimes in my head I compare it to a theatrical production of a play to a movie. So when in theater things happen in front of your eyes and something happens in the audience, this emotional connection, the energy that goes between the actors and the audience, nothing's like it. There's nothing like it. So you have to be there to experience that. And things go wrong. People forget lines. Somebody stumbles. Somebody catwalks on the stage, and nobody pays attention to the actors, or a prop falls or something. So things go wrong, and that's the beauty of it. That's the live experience of it. And in a movie, when you craft it so perfectly, every frame of every scene, you rarely shoot a movie in order. So sometimes it's completely out of sequence, and then it's assembled later with CGI or with different effects, and it's just making this perfect work of art that's then delivered to the audience. The same thing with recording, and I feel like the technology is moving very, very quickly that allows us to do things that were not possible even 5, 10, 15 years ago. And we use it. I'm trying to keep on top of it and keep with updates and new things that come out. And I think, and the more we do it, the more we engineers and producers, the more we perfect it, the more expectation of perfection is growing from the audience.
So it's your
And
fault, basically.
Mhm.
It's your fault, basically.
Well, basically, I think so, but I feel like if I can make it perfect, why not? Just like, when I play and one note doesn't sound quite as perfect as I thought, but on a different take, it is. It will take me a few seconds to fix it. Why not? And just make it perfect. That's again, it is my fault. Yes. Yeah, I take full responsibility, but the audience just have to realize, I mean, they don't have to do anything, but they know, I hope they know that when they listen to my album, and they go to a concert and they get disappointed because I had wrong notes in the concert. Oh, well, why did you come? Listen to the
You're in the
recording.
wrong place then.
Right, right. So yeah, it's a tricky question. As far as trends, I don't know. There's my recent obsession with Dolby Atmos surround sound, which is relatively new in music, just a few years. It's been in movies for a long time, and basically the idea of if you sit in a movie theater and the car drives on your right side, the sound of it goes through multiple speakers on the right side. It creates the illusion that the car drives by you, and it finally made its way to music. So I do most of my productions in surround sound, and it's kind of a new trend. And I admit it's a little gimmicky because you don't have driving cars in classical music yet. You never know. But for us traditionally, for a traditional classical music concert or an album, you have one perspective of a listener in the audience listening to whatever it is on the stage, solo piano, orchestra, choir, whatever. And you sit here and that's how you hear it. So nothing moves, nothing shifts around. So for me, it's a creation of the space around me, the surround sound in this regard, not moving parts and moving things, but creating a space. That's where I find joy. That when somebody sits in my room where there are lots of speakers and they listen to the recording and it sounds like you are there. You're in a concert hall. It's an incredible experience, although very few people listen like this. But it's a trend, I think.
Thank you.
So, and I'm trying to follow it.
Yeah, thank you. You just mentioned, I was wondering if you're sitting in the recording studio and you're recording yourself, is there a fight between two of you?
That not anymore. Not anymore. We made peace. We it took us. I can't believe I'm talking about myself. I was positive plural, but yeah, it took us a long time. I made my first album in 2007 or eight, and that was a little painful, just because I caught myself as a pianist arguing with myself as a producer, which was not very, productive or helpful. And I couldn't make the decisions because I look at some outrageous things that I would do. It's like, well, but I want to do it. That's how I hear it. And producer said, no, you'll offend anybody. You can't do this. And I was very difficult. That was very difficult. It took a very, very long time and a lot of retakes and re-edits and replaying. Oh, it was, yeah. And so I learned my lesson. So can we call it a failure? Probably, but I learned my lesson. So next, were much easier. The idea, and that's one of the things that I recommend when somebody, again, at these talks, when people ask me about what's your advice for recording? How do I record myself? How do I prepare? I get so nervous. One of the most important advices that I can give, and most people know that, but just don't follow it, is to record yourself constantly with the phone, whatever. Just record yourself and listen to it, and cry, weep, or whatever. But take notes and learn your lessons, because just like when you when you hear your voice on an answering machine, right? Doesn't sound like your voice to you. You feel like, who's that person? And the other people would say, yeah, that's exactly how you sound. That's your voice. And you hear it differently, right? The same thing when you play on stage, your perception of what you're doing is completely different from the perception in the audience. Not completely, obviously different, but quite different. Your timing, especially, sometimes you feel. I'm sure you've had that experience when you feel like, oh, I took so much time there, and then you listen to the recordings, like, I didn't take any time at all. I should have done more. Or you feel like I'm playing it too slow. I need to go faster. And it's like, oh, I can't even hear all the notes. It's too fast. I have to slow down. So those are the things that get easier to control the more you record yourself. So you kind of create this out of body experience when you transform yourself to the audience and hear yourself from their point of view. You are there rather than at the piano or whatever instrument. And that is helping me, because I record other people and I record myself constantly, and just listen. And it's kind of sad. I sit down, I record myself because I can't take notes while I'm playing. Then I record myself, and then I sit down with my iPad and open the score. Okay, take one, and I start. Oh no! And I start marking the score as a producer would, as I do as a producer for other people, and then I either fix it or go play it again. But it gets easier the more I do it. And the other thing, I can't say I don't care as much, because I do, but the older you get, the less you care, really. That's kind of like universal truth. You care less what other people think about. But of course, for me, I want it to be perfect. I want it to be the best.
That's understandable. Yeah, you probably envisioned what it should be, and after all the experience with other people, you already know what it should be, but there is a way to reach to that step by
But
step.
that's the problem with this. That when you practice, when you start learning a new piece and you have the goal that you set for yourself, so there's a goal, so and you climb to that and you work very, very hard, and you climb to this goal, and as soon as you get close, you move it up. Either you want it or not, you move it up. So it's there now, but it's not good enough. So you move your goal. and you just keep moving it forever. You never reach it. If you reach your goal and you're happy with everything, there's something wrong, either with you or with your goal. You never reach it. You keep moving it up. You cannot reach it. And the problem is that, not the problem, the thing is that the audience, the people who listen, they have no idea where this is. They take it for what it is. They take it what you give them, and then they judge or they love it or they hate it, but whatever that is. But they didn't know where it is on your scale. So it's irrelevant to them.
But for you, sky is the limit. That's for
Right.
sure. Yeah.
Right.
I have maybe a few more questions, and then I would like to listen to one more piece of yours. So, what people say? What do people say about the recording with you? What is it like, and why should they record with you? What do you do differently?
To be honest, I hardly ever observed other people, other producers, other engineers work with. I only had in the whole time I've been doing that, I only have seen, just a couple, literally two, three sessions where I could observe what people do. So I don't know. I feel like I'm in my little bubble. I'm doing it all, and I feel like if I like it, it must be good. And people say, yeah, it's good. So I think I just keep doing it. So I don't know what I do differently, but I do know that my clients become my friends and they become very loyal. A lot of them come back. So I feel like that I'm doing something right. And I think my advantage of coming to, again, with that proverbial glass, coming from the stage onto to the other side, I know how you feel. I know how frustrating it is. I know how painful it is to be under this microscope. And I try to make it as easy and as comfortable and as productive as I possibly can because I know I was there just yesterday. So it's not an experience that I created. I know, and that's I feel like again coming back to the shrink idea. Um, I feel like I do understand what's going on. And a lot of times when we record, and I would ask for a break. I said, I need a break. I need to go to the bathroom. I need more coffee or whatever. When I don't, just because I feel like it's time. This performer needs 3 minutes and it'll be just fine. But if we don't stop right now, it's going to ruin the rest of the session. So I feel these things just because, again, I was there. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. And then just the experience and being a musician myself, and people can hear my playing, and most of it is all right. So people like it, and they trust my intuition as a musician as well as the engineer. So these two hats, making a beautiful sound is relatively easy. You have good microphones and you have good ears, and you just listen and put the mics where it sounds best, and then off you go. Making beautiful music is much more difficult, and capturing somebody's ideas is very difficult. One of the most difficult things for me is to record pieces that I feel like mine, like pictures at an exhibition, that which was my piece for many years, and I thought this is just it became me, the piece. I became that person walking through the paintings, and I became the paintings. It was so close to me for so many years. And when somebody comes in to play it and it's all wrong, I have to realize it's not wrong. They're just not me. And it's perfectly acceptable. It's perfectly deliberate and thoughtful and interesting. It's just not me, and I have to go with that. And I do gracefully because I don't feel like they're playing it wrong. I know, I know that
Sharing
it's not.
pictures is dangerous.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you. Speaking of beautiful music, there is a piece that I have heard long time ago that you played. Uh, it's why don't you tell a story about this Bach Prelude and Fugue from Well-Tempered Clavier, Book 1 in C major, and what
Just a
you
prelude.
have done with that?
Just a prelude. I didn't touch the fugue.
Just a prelude, yes, right.
Yes. It was kind of a funny thing. I don't even know why somebody was recording it or something happened. There was the score was on my piano or on my somewhere, and I was looking at the score and I just got curious. Is it possible to play the whole thing with the left hand alone? And I started playing, and it's like, yeah, it is possible. There's no point except for the last chord. There's no point in the music where you need two hands to play all the notes because there's no two voices. It's all just one voice, one. Um, and and so when I started doing that, it was kind of fun. And then my right hand kind of got bored and started coming up with some kind of melody, and I started kind of improvising on that. And then it got a little complicated, so I had to stop and actually write it down because it was impossible to align, 416 notes against 11/32 in the right hand. That got a little wild. And that's it. So that's just kind of.
You say that's it, so let's listen to it, and people are going to see that that's it contains a lot of levels here. Okay, so we are playing Bach, Prelude in
I
C
call
major. Yeah,
I,
go ahead.
I call the prelude. I call this piece Bach's Prelude in C major. That was very funny because I played it at a concert. I premiered it somewhere, and somebody called me and they said, "So what's the title of the piece?" And I said, "I have no idea what to call it." And they said, "Well, so what is it?" I said, "Like, well, it's just Bach's Prelude in C major with a few added notes." It's like perfect, and that became the title of the piece: Bach's Prelude in C major with a few added notes.
Let's listen to it. Okay, Sergei, I would like to take a moment and thank you so much for being here and for telling your amazing stories. One more time, we were with Dr. Sergei Kvitko, 2025 Grammy-nominated producer, pianist, composer, arranger, artist, and a very inspirational person in many, many ways. Thank you.
Thank you.
And my gratitude goes to Professor Greg Golda and the wonderful team. And have a wonderful week, everybody, and stay tuned.